So now that we have our data, and yours should look kind of similar to mine, I have rolled my die 50 times, traveled to different stations, recorded the total off to the right, and I double checked it did add up to 50. The next thing we need to do in order to graph that in a pie graph is we need to change all these values into a percent. And there's an example down in the reading down here that I gave you, but we changed it to 50 rolls instead of 20, so we had to change the 20 to 50, which kind of changed our percentage. I rewrote it down here so it's a little bit easier to see. But if you had a 6 up here, you would do the math by 6 divided by 50. So let's plug that into my calculator here. 6 divided by 50, and that equals 0.12. We have to take that number, 0.12 that we get, multiply it by 100, and that gives us a percent, which is, in this case, 12%. So we're going to put 12% off to the right over here, and now we can graph that percent here. We would need to repeat the same for the rest of these. So like 2 divided by 50 equals, looks like 0.04. 0.04 times 100 equals 4. So that would be 4%. Repeat for the remaining, and then you are ready to graph those percents in your pie graph. Now we have to understand that this pie graph shows us 100% of everything. So I'm going to use a pad of paper kind of as a straight edge. And if this is 100%, if I divide this in half, if I draw a line down the middle, it's a little off, but we'll make it work. Now this 100% is divided into two sections, 50%, 50%. If you happen to have anything up here that was 50%, great, you already have that part of the water cycle graphed. But you will have some smaller ones as well. So we have to figure out how we can get 4% plugged into this. So this would be 50%. But this is 50%, and we have to graph some of these other numbers like 12 and 4. So we're going to divide this in half again. And half of 50% is 25. So this is 25%. So is this. If you happen to have any of these percents up here as 25, great, you got a quarter of the pie, you can graph that. But if you have numbers less than 12, and you will, we have to divide a section in half again. I'll just freehand it a little bit easier. So half of 25% is 12.5%, so each of these is 12.5%. But that's still not small enough to graph 4%. I would have to divide this in half again. And half of 12.5 is 6.25%. So each of those will be 6.25%. And if you're not sure about something like that, you could just take out your trusty calculator, 12.5 divided by 2, 6.25, which is how I got that value there. But I need to graph 4, so I need, I could cut this in half again, but half of 6.25 is less than 4. I need more than half of this, but not all of this to graph 4. And half of this is 3.125. So I'm just going to use my best estimate to kind of divvy this up. So if this is 6.25, I'm just going to kind of round that down to 6 so it's easy. And that would make this halfway point, say 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I needed 4. So here's my point. I can just draw my line connecting that to that. And now I have 4%. And that would represent, looks like, the soil. And I can label that as soil. You would need to repeat this, and I just kind of graphed this. Might want to shade it in, different colors if you have them. That might be visually easier to see. But 4% is my soil. You would need to repeat the same process to graph Looks like the underground water, where will that fit in? The lakes, so on and so forth. So this is how you go about completing this section of the graph.